Welcome to the first video from our Marella Discovery 2 Aegean Gems cruise. We're going to take you along with us for our travel to Cyprus and our first day on board. We'd booked park and stay at the Britannia Hotel at Newcastle Airport for a really good price. The hotel itself is a bit tired, but it's fine for one night before your holiday. And it has the advantage of being literally 5 minutes walk to the airport terminal. TUI check-in and bag drop were really quick and easy, and took us maybe 10 minutes. As we had some credit to use up from a previous trip, we'd booked the Aspire Lounge before our flight. Where there's self-serve tea and coffee and a breakfast buffet, and also a self-serve bar, which we made good use of. Our flight had been pushed back an hour, so as the buffet had changed to lunch, we had another quick snack while we were waiting. Eventually, we got called to our flight gate, got on the shuttle bus, then had a rather wet walk across the tarmac to our plane. And once we were on board, the captain announced that we had another hour's delay sitting on the tarmac, due to a strike in Greece. Luckily, we'd been assigned exit row seats on check-in, so we were actually pretty comfy while we waited, and I had legroom for a change. Eventually, we got underway. And as the plane took off, we got our last view of clouds for a whole week. We had a pretty decent flight, with some nice views out the window. Then, after about 4.5 hours, we touched down in Paphos Airport at about 9:30 local time. We got off the plane, collected our bags, and were soon on the transfer bus. And after about another hour's drive, we got our first sight of Discovery 2 in Limassol Cruise Port, where we had to go through passport control, and then finally we were clear to board the ship. The first thing we did was head to our muster station on prom deck to get that out of the way. Then went down to our cabin to drop our bags and watch the safety video. We'd booked a standard ocean view cabin on deck 3, which is a nice enough room with everything you need, and I'll post a full tour of it on our channel. Safety essentials completed, we headed up to deck 9 and across the pool deck, where the sailaway party was in full swing. We were tired and hungry though, so we carried on through to Ireland's buffet, where they'd laid on some late night snacks for those of us who had delayed flights. The selection was quite limited, but it was fine for hungry people, and we were happy enough. After our snack, we went down to the live room on deck 4 for a drink. I had a Peroni, and Suze had strawberry daiquiri. The very efficient bar staff lined up a second one. And then, suitably refreshed, we headed outside on prom deck to watch the sailaway. The lines holding us to the quayside were cast off. And then the ship's thrusters pushed us away from the quayside. And we headed off out of the harbour. Suze went to bed, and I stayed out on deck a bit longer. Where I watched the pilot disembarking. And then, after what had been a long day, went for some much needed sleep. Next morning we went to 47 degrees on deck 4, which is the ship's main dining room, for breakfast. There's a decent selection on the menu, and the coffee and juice were both quite nice. I went for the full English. I didn't love the scrambled egg or tinned mushrooms, but that's easy to fix tomorrow. And Suze went for a fruit plate. After breakfast, we went up to what was already a pretty busy pool deck, where we watched the music trivia. Then down to the Broad Street shops to see if anything caught our eye amongst the Marella merchandise. We then had our first proper look at the atrium. We took our first cruise together on Discovery, and Discovery 2 is the same layout, with the impressive glass-topped atrium and glass-fronted lifts. Then, in need of caffeine, we went to the coffee port on deck 6. I had an iced coffee, and Suze had a frozen black forest. These were really tasty drinks, and included on the premium package. We went back to the main dining room for lunch. I had flounder with chips, and Suze had a chili chicken sandwich. And I had chocolate marquise for dessert. It wasn't a bad lunch, and we washed it down with a glass of house wine. After lunch, we went out for some fresh air and to explore the prom deck. It's been a while since we were on one of these ships, and we couldn't remember if the prom wraps around the ship. It doesn't. It's closed off mid-aft and mid-forward. This is the same both sides of the ship, although one side is for smokers and the other side non-smoking. We then went up to deck 10, which was pretty busy. But we found a couple of loungers and enjoyed a bit of sun and a couple of drinks. Mid-afternoon we took a trip to Islands Buffet for afternoon tea. Marella do this nicely. And we enjoyed filled rolls, hot sausage rolls and some tasty cakes. We really like the buffet on this class of ship. It's spacious with plenty of seating and has great views out the front of the ship. We went down and got a seat in the atrium and ordered some drinks. Suze had an Aperol Spritz and I had a Cadillac Margarita, which I'd probably order on the rocks next time. We spotted land outside, so went out on the prom deck for a look at what turned out to be Rhodes, which we were passing by on our way towards Kusadasi. Then we went back in for another drink, this time a Harry's Bellini and a glass of pink Bottega Prosecco. Then we changed and went for dinner in 47 degrees main dining room again. For starter, I had chicken Caesar salad and Suze had the arancini. And for mains, I had the Angus steak, which was a bit tough, and Suze had grilled chicken and salad. Then for dessert, I had a glass of port and a pavlova. After dinner, we got a drink in the live room. I had Peroni and Suze had cherry rum fizz, which is an old favourite. Then we went out on prom deck to watch the sunset, which is always a worthwhile event at sea. We then went upper deck to the Squid and Anchor on deck 5, which is the onboard pub, and we ordered some drinks. Another Peroni for me, and Ophir gin with tonic for Suze. It was pretty quiet when we got there, but before too long it began to fill up. And it was soon time for one of the onboard game shows, which was really good fun. After the game show, we took one of the glass elevators up to deck 11 and bar 11, which is a cocktail bar and late night disco, where we ordered a couple of the signature cocktails. Suze had a blueberry and grape press, and I had a smoky old fashioned, which is good theatre but smells like a bonfire, and I ordered them without the smoke after that. We enjoyed our drinks. Then took the elevator back down and back to our cabin, which had been turned down with chocolates, cruise news and a towel animal. Being back on Marella is very different to the cruises we've done recently, but we're enjoying it so far and looking forward to the rest of the week.